Good morning, everyone. Audible? Morning. Good morning, everyone. Audible? Good morning, everyone. Am I audible? Yeah. Uh, good evening, all. Myself, Sachin Sutar. I'm uh, I'm I'm currently yeah. Just a second. Some technical problem. Good evening, all. Myself, Sachin Sutar. I'm currently doing my Ph.D. from Babasaheb Ambedkar Marathwada University from Milind College, and my research guide is Dr. Vilas Gokul Mahajan. My roll number is 187. My title of my thesis is Effect of Occupational Stress on Psychological Well-being of Employees. Now, this is the topic which is very common and it is very important because stress is an inevitable part of everyone's life. So I wanted to study how stress can affect the psychological well-being of the employees, and everyone knows that how stress has harmful effects on the psychological well-being of the person. That's why I've chosen this particular topic so that my research will help the society in large by understanding the stress and understanding the importance of psychological well-being. So let's proceed further. The problem of my study is to study the effect of occupational stress on psychological well-being of employees. These are the variables of my research. There are three independent variables. First is occupational stress, which is at two levels, which is generally high level and low level. Then the second independent variable is area of residence, which is at two levels, urban level and rural level. Then the third independent variable is gender, which is at two levels, male and female. Now the dependent variable is psychological well-being. So we'll be studying these three IVs effect on the DV, which is psychological well-being. These are my hypotheses. First hypothesis is that this is the null hypothesis. There is no significant difference between high and low occupational stress among employees on psychological well-being. Second hypothesis is there is no significant difference between urban and rural employees on psychological well-being. Third hypothesis is like that there is no significant difference between male and female employees on psychological well-being. And last will be the interaction effect will be studying. So there is no significant interaction between level of occupational stress, area of residence, which is urban rural, and gender, male and female, on psychological well-being among employees. My sample, I will be uh, targeting manufacturing industries, and I'm looking at the workmen who are uh, working into the manufacturing industries, and then I am dividing my sample into these things like area of residence. I'm based on the urban and rural area. I'll be targeting the manufacturing industries, and accordingly uh, each criteria I'll be taking 50 participants for my research. So 50 urban, 50 rural in high occupational stress, 50 uh, um, 50 male and 50 female. Like that, I'll be making the segregation. So total sample I'll be doing is 100. Now there are three independent variables with two levels. So the design for this research is 2 by 2 by 2 factorial design. Now when comparing the data which is already collected from the workmen, the descriptive statistics will come into picture. So mean, standard deviation will be calculated first. And as there are three independent variables and one dependent variable, so uh, um, definitely there is ANOVA which need to be performed, and it is calculated on the SPSS software which is readily available for the calculation of the data. Now let's talk about something about the stress. As I've already previously noted that stress is an inevitable part of everyone's life, and work stress definitely everyone has, which can affect his quality of life and the psychological well-being of that particular person. And it not only affects that particular person, but um, it affects his family, his immediate family members, his relatives, and other people also whom he got surrounded with. And definitely, uh, as we already know about stress, that there is some good part of the stress which is called as eustress. So eustress can motivate the person to work harder, whereas there is a bad side of the stress which is distress, and definitely distress can affect the work as well as personal life of that particular person. Then talking about psychological well-being, everyone knows that how sounding mental health is so much important, and the well-being of psychological well-being is very much important. Now it is primarily advocated by Rice in 1989, and definitely it has six factors like self-acceptance, positive relation with others, personal growth, environmental mastery, purpose in life, and autonomy. So definitely the person with good psychological well-being can have this kind of characteristics and vice versa. Now definitely psychological well-being is uh, talk about how one evaluate himself, how his self-evaluation about um, his life. So certain times the person can perceive negative self-evaluation and his psychological well-being gets affected. So it is into the cognition of that particular person, and it has a feeling component attached towards it. So definitely it can adversely affect his work. Now there are various theories of psychological well-being. Okay, and as you know that students uh, at large they also need to have good psychological well-being, which helps for good mental health, maintaining good relationship with others, and they become more productive in terms of their studies, and they can have a positive attitude towards their life. So I think every person would like to achieve the psychological well-being, uh, which will be helpful for him for for getting what he wants, for like a sense of achievement. Then he can have more satisfaction about his work. The happiness will spread in because he is having good psychological well-being, so good mental health he will be having. So that can be shared with other people, and definitely the happiness will always spread from one person to another. So psychological well-being is very important. Now, when we are studying blue collar work laborers, you might be knowing that these people are already go through a lot of stress continuously in manufacturing industries. They are working for 12 hours, 14 hours, 18 hours. Certain times they don't sleep also because they are constantly working. So definitely the level of stress in the manufacturing industries has definitely affected the psychological well-being of the employees. That's why I've chosen this particular sample, like workmen, whom I can observe, and I can uh, get to know them closely, that how it affects their psychological well-being. Now, talking about review of literature, I have gone through many of the literature which talks about how important is psychological health and well-being, and how it is very important for people. So definitely there are various studies done in India as well as in abroad which talks about how occupational health and how psychological well-being and occupational stress are so much important, and the various studies has give me curious interest in terms of studying this particular topic in depth. Now, talking about the various scales which I am doing it for my research. So there are two scales which I am using it for my research prominently. One is occupational stress index by Srivastava and Singh, which is developed in 1981. It has 46 items which are rated on 5-point scale, with reliability is quite high, like 0.90. So it has a very good reliability. And I'll be using psychological well-being scale by Devendra Sisodia and Pooja Chowdhury. It has 50 items and it is rated on 5-point scale with reliability 0.90. So it is also highly reliable test. So the objective behind using this particular test is that they are having high reliability. So whatever workmen I'm giving this particular test, so definitely it will give me uh, the result which are reliable, and which can be trusted on. Now, definitely, I am looking for big industries, big manufacturing industries where I will be getting the workmen, and I'm pretty much sure that this research will be helpful for the society, as well as it will be helpful for industries. It is also helpful for employees, as well as it will be helpful for employers, because they can, based on my research, they can devise certain strategies, coping techniques, which will help to reduce the occupational stress in the industries and increase the psychological well-being in their industries for their employees. This is all about my research. Thank you very much for your time. Uh, Thank you.